Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. We begin at the coroner's inquest into the death of Chantel Moore, where it was another emotional day as the police officer who shot Moore testified. Angel Moore reports from the inquest.
This is day 2 at the Delta Hotel in Fredericton, New Brunswick, where the coroner's inquest into the death of Chantel Moore continues. This morning, singer Jeremy Dutcher of the Tobic First Nation, New Brunswick, sang and walked with Moore's family to give support. Tuesday's testimony came from Officer Jeremy's son, who fatally shot Moore. Son testified Moore approached him with a knife, so he shot her 4 times. Moore's family sobbed, hearing the details leading to Chantel's death. Her mother feels the inquest will have no effect.
We keep doing recommendations and recommendations. Well, when is there going to be change? We want to see hard action. We don't want to hear any more recommendations. We're done. We need action now.
Supporters read the names of others who have died by police or in police custody.
My niece, Melinda Martin, shot in Ucluelet, BC. Our nephew, Julian Jones, shot and killed in Tofino, BC on the Opitsit Reserve. There are so many to name, it's unreal.
One young man, 23-year-old Anthony Aust, 2020, killed by police. Craig Ritchie, 30 years old in 2019. And you know, this list of almost 2,000 individuals here, it tells me that for a while there's been open season on Indigenous people, it seems to me.
Martin says people are still dying.
And I think if that doesn't speak to our people in Canada, then I don't know what will, because this continues to go on and on and on. When does it end?
The coroner's inquest resumes tomorrow with expert witnesses. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Thanks, Angel. To southern Alberta now, where 5 people are facing charges in the death of Lane Tailfeathers. 35-year-old Tailfeathers was reported missing by his family in June 2021. His remains were found near Crow's Nest Pass a month later. Richard Lavelle, Miranda Turuk, Randy Giroux are charged with second-degree murder. Michelle Toth and Edward Goodrich are charged with accessory after the fact and indignity to a body. All 5 are scheduled to appear in court next week. RCMP say no other information will be provided as the matter is now before the courts. Ontario's provincial election is on June 2nd, and a First Nations lawyer is running as an independent candidate in Northern Ontario. But only after the Liberal Party took too long to approve her nomination application. APTN's Fraser Needham has more.
Sault Ste. Marie lawyer NAOMI Sayers feels the time is right to run for office, and she wants to be a representative for the underrepresented in her hometown.
They just get a sense that they're feeling unheard, dismissed, and especially, in government, rarely do we hear Sault Ste. Marie mentioned, and it's mostly the policies that are put forward are usually urban-centric, and I don't want to pick on Toronto, but very Toronto-centric.
A friend of hers who is connected to the Liberal Party approached her to seek the party nomination, but after submitting her nomination package and not hearing anything for a month, Sarah says she started to believe she was getting the runaround.
But by the time later in April, I just felt that for some reason I was just getting a sense it wasn't being taken seriously. And I said, May 3rd, if I don't hear from you, I'm withdrawing. This shouldn't take that long. But their reasons are that because of the volume of information I gave them, they wouldn't have time.
She says she never received a firm answer on why the Liberals didn't approve her nomination application. Sayers has been open about her involvement in sex work when she was younger, but is in good standing in both the Ontario and Alberta law associations.
When I was called to the bar, you have to undergo a good character investigation. And so they asked you to disclose, you have to undergo a good character investigation if there are any good character issues. And some of the questions that they were asking are similar to good character issues.
The Ontario Liberals eventually appointed an 18-year-old high school student as the candidate, who has since been dumped, and another one is now in place.
A lot more freedom.
Either way, Sarah says she has moved on and is happy to run as an independent.
So. And I think people who are not used to reaching out to politicians are now reaching out to me.
The Liberal Party of Ontario did not respond to APTN's request for comment by airtime. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
David Milgaard, who was the victim of one of Canada's most famous wrongful convictions, has died. Milgaard passed away Sunday in an Alberta hospital after a brief illness. He was 69. Milgaard spent 23 years behind bars for the murder of nursing assistant Gail Miller in Saskatoon in 1969. What is less known is Milgaard's advocacy work on behalf of others who were wrongfully convicted. APTN's Leanne Sanders has that story.
When I heard the news, it was like losing my brother. You know, how I felt when I lost my brothers.
David Milgaard spent the last 18 months of his life working alongside his lawyer, James Lockyer of the Innocence Project, to free two Saskatchewan sisters they believe were wrongfully convicted in a 1993 murder. Odelia and Narissa Cuisance have been incarcerated in various levels of the correction system since they were picked up shortly after the killing of James Dolph in Kamsack, a crime they say they didn't commit and for which a cousin served time for. On a brief release to visit her home reserve of Kees First Nation yesterday, Odelia spoke in an emotional tribute to Milgaard.
I got a message, message, I said, he messaged me and he said he always has that free Narissa, free Odelia, and they let him, you know. He sent me that and I said, oh, I'm going home, you know, this weekend. And his last words were all, I'm so happy for you. Have a good visit with your families.
Lockyer also spoke at the tribute, saying Milgaard's legacy has got to be the release of the sisters and ultimately changes to the justice system.
He's left us here, but he's left us with a lot of work to do. And we all have to say we're going to do what we can to cherish his memory, but and cherish what he did for us while he was here on this earth. For David, the big thing is going to be your freedom for both of you. That's if he was here now, he'd say that's the most important thing in his life.
Mm-hmm. Odelia believes Milgaard's spirit remains with her and Narissa.
Sure gonna miss him. He was such a good, you know, support. But I'm so grateful and honored for all of us to be here today. David Milgaard is here in spirit. I know he is because there's been little signs. I know there's signs, and I'm a strong believer in this way. You know, and how things worked out with my Auntie Shirley here, my cousin. Having you all here, I want to say be good.
APTN will bring you more on the Cuisance sisters' bid for freedom next week. Leanne Sanders, APTN National News, Kees First Nation.
A new housing project for Indigenous youth in care or aging out of care in Manitoba held a grand opening last week. With a look at the new building, here's Daryl Stranger.
This building comes from a place of love. This comes from a place of love, and everything that we've done to do this and to bring this building to life comes from our heart.
This apartment building in Winnipeg's North End used to be a burned-down, abandoned building. But now it's been renovated into 18 units and will give up to 24 Indigenous youth in care or aging out of care affordable housing.
The youth are the most important people. They are why we do this, and we are so very grateful to have been able to bring this idea to life through the opportunities that we receive through our funding. With that support, we can bring our big ideas and create something like this, and our youth are the ones that are going to benefit. It doesn't matter what we think or what we want, it's what they need, and that's what we want to center by doing this project.
The building was bought by Shawinigan Abenuji after they received $3 million from the federal government's Rapid Housing Initiative. A part of the Southeast Tribal Council, they serve 8 First Nation communities in southern Manitoba. Tatiana Monkman-Hudson has been accessing services provided by Shawinigan Abenuji since she aged out of care at 21.
It's been a positive impact, and they've helped me out through so much. And when I was transitioning out of care, they were a big support and still continue to be. They've been a continuous support to this day, and I want to continue to use it and how do you say that? Use the resources in the community. Yeah, and they've actually taught me how to be a powerful leader.
The building will also have a cultural space, computer area, and various programming rooms. Tenants are expected to move in this month. Daryl Stranger, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Alberta Premier Jason Kenney is in Washington today, pitching Alberta Energy as a reliable supplier for the United States. Kenney appeared before the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources, and he urged U.S. lawmakers to look north of the border for their energy needs and not to Saudi Arabia and other OPEC members.
After your country has spent hundreds of billions of dollars in recent decades defending security in the Persian Gulf area, it turns out that the solution to the challenges of energy security is your closest friend and ally. Vladimir Putin's brutal invasion of Ukraine has proven the danger of allowing dictators to dominate global energy markets and weaponize oil wealth, using it to spread violence, instability, and terrorism around the world.
Kenney also urged the U.S. government to push Michigan to abandon its campaign against Enbridge's Line 5 pipeline and floated the idea of a bilateral pipeline to help both countries establish energy security. Time to step aside for a quick break, but coming up, we follow the Governor General as she returns home.
In all the work that I do or have done for over 40 years, I have always remembered where I come from.
Welcome back. Mary Simon recently toured her home region of Nunavik for the first time as Governor General. Located in the northernmost reaches of Quebec, Nunavik is home to about 12,000 Inuit spread over 14 communities. And as Tom Fenario reports in this two-part series, while the tour was a chance for Inuit to celebrate Simon's success, it was also a chance to look for solutions to problems that plague the place Inuit call the Great Land.
Mary Simon is about to set foot in Kangersuajuak for the first time in nearly 4 years. The Governor General has been well received everywhere she's gone in her tour of Nunavik. But this small Inuit community of less than 1,000 has a connection to Simon that others don't.
That's where I was raised.
Simon spent most of her formative years 150 kilometers to the southwest in Kuujjuaq, but she was born in a camp not far from Kangersuajuak. She still has many friends and family here.
In all the work that I do or have done for over 40 years, I have always remembered where I come from.
Located about 1,500 kilometers northeast of Montreal, near the Labrador border, Kangersuajuak translates as very large bay. It's the kind of place where the weather changes on a dime. And folks are quick to have a good time. The only difference is that this time, Simon is visiting as part of a tour of Nunavik in her official capacity as Governor General. And as much as this tour is a way for Inuit here to celebrate one of their own, it's also a venue to discuss the remote community's challenges. Kangersuajuak Mayor Makumbi Ananak doesn't mince words when discussing issues.
Mostly communications, infrastructure, and mental health.
But the fly-in community does have some in-house solutions.
Been one of our goals since they want to be able to break the cycle with violence or placements, because that's creating traumas over and over again.
Alessi Ananak is a counselor for the Hamapik Family House. Hamapik won a $700,000 2016 Arctic Exploration Prize for its work in providing a safe house for children and families facing abuse and other difficulties at home. They also provide counseling services, family activities, and programs for young parents.
It was like a flood of people that needed support. We know the community members, and we feel that they need the support, especially not knowing the system that we have or any other services that they deserve to have. So it's really good service because we use our language and we do them research on what we can do to help them out for their family.
Alessi says one of their goals is to help before youth protection gets involved and places a child elsewhere. In 2018, the Regional Board of Social Services testified that about 1 in 3 children in Nunavik come in contact with youth protection at some point in their lives. Alessi says Hamapik took it upon themselves to keep Inuit kids with their families and work towards solutions for Inuit by Inuit.
There is only a few workers of youth protection that are here, so I feel that they don't have time to talk about their system or their services. So we had to find out ourselves to see what rights we have as families or individuals.
Hamapik has had success despite working out of an old converted building that, on a busy night, is too small to fit everyone.
We were told in Kangersuajuak that they need a bigger place and they need more resources.
Before being Governor General, Mary Simon held many roles. In 2017, as a special representative to Northern Affairs Canada, she submitted a report entitled A New Shared Arctic Leadership Model. The non-binding document made dozens of recommendations to improve life in the Arctic. One of its main focuses is infrastructure. When asked about the implementation of her now 5-year-old recommendations, Simon says,
all I can say is that I think it's really important that these agreements take place in a timely manner and that people are given proper resources to continue their work that is really important for families.
Now that she represents the Crown, Simon says that at first it was difficult for her to give up the advocacy role. But she says that doesn't mean she can't still push for change.
Once you're in it, you realize that part of it is ceremonial, but there's a big part of it that isn't. And the reason I say that is that my role is to work on reconciliation. Reconciliation takes on many forms, and my role as a non-political entity or as a person is to be able to bring people together.
Simon is more qualified than most to bring people here together. Knowing how to play a song to jig to on the accordion doesn't hurt either.
Today was a day of hope. With Mary being an Inuk, that is a sign of hope that being an Inuk, you can accomplish anything in life.
But just because Simon is Inuk doesn't mean she isn't getting hard questions about the beautiful but troubled region of Nunavik.
As Inuk youth, we don't believe there will be positive change in the north, should we be hopeful.
In the final part of this series, Simon's tour takes us to Inukjuak on the Hudson's Bay, where the aim is to shine a light on solutions for the region. Tom Fenario, APTN National News, Kangikswajulek, Nunavik.
Thanks, Tom. Time for another quick break. Still to come, traveling across the pond to bring home regalia. Stick around. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. And today's photo was sent in by Matt LeMay. He took this great shot using a drone. This is the community of Pikwakanagan First Nation, which is just short of 2 hours west of Ottawa. Beautiful looking area. You can send your photos by email to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be featured as our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at Wednesday's weather forecast.
Starting on the East Coast, 14 for Halifax, 19 with showers in Charlottetown, 4 with rain in Nain, 11 for Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Sunny and 18 in Montreal, 12 for Chibougamau. 18 for Sault Ste. Marie and North Bay. 12 with showers in Thunder Bay, 11 and rain in Sioux Lookout. Sunny and 14 for God's Lake and Norway House. 13 with showers in Winnipeg, 10 and rain in Dauphin. 23 with showers for Regina, 13 and rain in Saskatoon. 13 in La Ronge, 12 with rain in Meadow Lake. In northern Alberta, rain and 15 for High Level and Fort McMurray. 11 with showers for Edmonton, cloudy and 17 in Lethbridge. 11 with rain in Vancouver, 14 in rain for Kamloops. 10 with showers for Prince George, 13 in Dease Lake. +3 with snow for Old Crow, 11 in Whitehorse. 11 with showers in Yellowknife, 12 and rain in Norman Wells. +1 for Sax Harbor, 1 degree warmer in Pawlatuck. +1 for Chesterfield, 2 in Whale Cove and Arviette. -1 in Resolute with snow, -2 with snow in Joe Haven. Delegates from Siksika Nation in southern Alberta are on their way to Exeter, England, to retrieve sacred regalia that belonged to a Blackfoot leader. The regalia belonged to Chief Crowfoot and has been housed in a museum in Exeter since 1878. A buckskin shirt, leggings, feather bundle, and a horsewhip will be returned to Siksika leadership on May 19th. Once brought back to Canada, the items will be on display at the Blackfoot Crossing Historical Park, where Treaty 7 was signed and where Chief Crowfoot died in 1890. MMIWG advocate Hilda Anderson-Pierce is our guest on a new episode of Face to Face tonight. Anderson-Pierce, who lost her sister Dawn in 2011, has just taken over as the chair of the National Family and Survivor Circle. She says there is a cost to not implementing the National Inquiry's 231 calls for justice.
The cost is the murder of our Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited and gender diverse people, and the continuance of violence being experienced by our Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited and gender diverse people, and that's a huge cost. It's a huge cost to our families and our communities and our nations.
You can watch that entire episode of Face to Face right here in less than 2 minutes time. And don't forget to join us here tomorrow afternoon live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for In Focus with Melissa Ridgen. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Tuesday. For news anytime or more on anything you've seen here, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Thanks for being with us. Stick around. Face to Face is next. Have a great night.